Hello and welcome to Thievius Entertainment. Today we're going to find out who has the best video games, King Kong or Godzilla. My name is Dan Chester, and you're watching Studious Gaming. I have 4 games with me. We're going to take a look at each one and grade them based on a few criteria. Whoever has the best grade will be the winner. First on our list is Godzilla on the Game Boy. This game came out in 1990 on the OG Game Boy. And oh, it's a puzzle game. I have to ask myself, do I want to play a Godzilla puzzle game? Hell yeah, I do. This game is great. The intro movie shows you these pictures of the kaiju and their chibi sprite counterparts. They chase you throughout the levels and they each have different characteristics. For instance, Anguirus is fast, Rodan flies, and Hedorah can't be killed by regular means, which makes him particularly annoying. And if you take too long to solve the level, King Ghidorah comes out and he's invincible. They don't exactly tell you what you're supposed to do, but eventually you'll figure out that you need to destroy boulders to advance to the next level. You have only one action aside from moving, and that's punching. At least I think it's punching. I definitely thought Godzilla was breathing fire at first, but it certainly looks like a fist. The manual says it's punches. You can get very stuck in a level and have to restart. You have to do things in a very particular way, and it's fun figuring out what you need to do to finish the level. Sometimes it seems impossible, and sometimes the answer is right in front of you. The puzzles get much harder as the game goes on, and the enemies get more aggressive. Sometimes the puzzle is super easy, but it requires you to take a lot of damage. Sometimes the level starts and drops you right into danger, so you have to act fast to survive. It's a fun game, but how can we grade it? This game definitely suffers for being older than the other games. But the graphics aren't that bad, so I give graphics a 6 out of 10, especially for the pictures in this intro. The music is fine, and the sound effects aren't too annoying, so I give sound an 8 out of 10. Gameplay is great and addictive. I found myself wanting to come back to complete this game, so I'll give that a 9 out of 10. However, it has 0 story, so it gets a 3 out of 10 for that. Not a total 0, since it does have all the good kaiju in it. That brings Godzilla 1990 on the Game Boy to a total of 26 out of 40 stars. But let's give it 5 bonus points for allowing you to play mainly as Godzilla. Now let's jump ahead to 1999. Did you know that after the American Godzilla movie in 1998, there was an animated series? Yeah, and it's not that bad either. There were 2 games made for the Game Boy Color, but I only had room to bring the first one in my tactical video game bag. This game was developed by Crawfish, and lets you play as Godzilla. Right off the bat, 5 bonus points to this game. Every single level has you walking slowly through a terrain. You can't control how fast Godzilla goes, but you do control Godzilla's head as he shoots fireballs or bites. He can also swing his tail, stomp, and swipe with his claws. It's kinda hard to get used to, but once you get it down, it's pretty fun. You can block, and Godzilla regenerates health, so it's not a frustrating game. I don't have time to play it all, but I get the sense that the entire game is like this. Let's get into grading it. It is seriously lacking in music, but the sound effects are okay, so it gets a 3 out of 10 stars for sound. The graphics are good, and it's very colorful. I think it utilizes the Game Boy graphics well, so 8 out of 10 for graphics. The font used for the text is kinda hard to read. I thought I'd point that out. The gameplay makes you feel like a giant, it makes you feel powerful. But it's kind of slow and boring. After only a few levels, I don't think I want to play any more of it. So that's a 5 out of 10 for gameplay. The story is interesting and has all the characters from the show. They all have interesting personalities, but the text really gets in the way of me understanding what they're trying to say. I give the story a 7 out of 10. That brings this game to a total of 21 out of 40, plus 5 bonus points. That gives Godzilla a total of 57 stars.
Oh no! Oh, my Game Boy! Oh, I'm gonna hit that building! Come in, Red Leader. This is Studious G. I have the bogeys in sight. Repeat, I have the bogeys in sight.
Roger that, Studious G. Stand by for orders.
Oh, thank God. That gives me more time to play some games. It's too bad I lost the Game Boy, but we don't need it anymore. The rest of the games are on the Game Boy Advance. Now, let's see how King Kong stacks against the odds.
King Kong had an animated series made just to go against Godzilla in 1999. Yeah, their rivalry was more than just fiction. Companies were vying for supremacy too. Though the TV show wasn't as good as Godzilla, it did have 2 direct-to-video movies. One of them being Kong, King of Atlantis. Let's play the game made for that movie. The main gimmick in the animated series is that this guy has a bracelet that lets him link up with Kong so he can control him. So straight from the start, this game gets no bonus points since you're never technically playing as Kong, just as Jason, or whatever this guy's name is, who is psychically linked to Kong. Most of the game you play as humans anyway, and after 3 levels in a row playing as Cheetah, in the same looking place, I had to turn it off. So let's get into grading. The music is appropriate. It's like a jungle thing. The sound is kinda bad. Oh yeah, this game is also made by Crawfish. So the animation studios might have been competing, but Crawfish was rolling in the dough from it, right? Oh, they closed in 2002. But they made some cool games. Sum of All Fears? A lot of these games are on my list of games to play. But back to the topic at hand. I give this game's sound a 5 out of 10, perfectly halfway. The graphics are pretty good, though it's very repetitive. I like that you can see way into the distance. The characters could use a touch more detail. They feel fuzzy. But it looks just like the cartoon. I have the same issues with the text on this as I did with Godzilla. It seems Crawfish didn't learn. I give it an 8 out of 10, even though it's a little funky at times. By the way, the whole animated series is free on YouTube as of March 2021 if you want to watch it. The gameplay is very standard for a side-scrolling platformer, but it is unnecessarily hard at times, and like your enemies in the first level are earthquakes and hentai creatures. Eventually Kong has to take out standard trees too. Like, what? Later on you fight actual creatures, but they are kind of a pain in the ass. But one way this game is similar to Godzilla is that you have to fight boulders in this game too. Who do they think they are? This gameplay gets 3 out of 10 for me. It could be worse, but should definitely be a lot better. And lastly, the story is good. It follows the events from the movie, and it's pretty interesting. I give that a 7 out of 10. This game gets 23 out of 40 stars. Next up is Kong, 8th Wonder of the World. This game is based on Peter Jackson's remake of the original King Kong. The game on the PlayStation 2 was incredible, but how is the handheld port? It's good, and actually keeps me playing despite the anxiety I'm feeling right now. Very early on, you get to play as Kong. In his levels, the game is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and yes, you still have to fight trees. But you do actually fight dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are awesome. However, this game can't get bonus points because most of the game follows the leading humans, Jack and Carl, as they try to save Anne and survive Skull Island. This doesn't sound too cool, but it's done like Zelda with a top-down perspective. You know the game is serious when it has a top-down perspective. There's lots to do in the game and the island feels great. You will get to a dungeon-like level that feels exactly like Zelda, and it's fun to figure out the dungeon's puzzles. I'm sure this game has a lot of surprises going forward, but I need to focus on my mission. This game has great music and sound effects, so I give it an 8 out of 10. The gameplay is like Zelda, and is pretty advanced, with a crafting mechanic, and each character has a special set of skills. Anne's is screaming? 8 out of 10 for gameplay. The graphics are great. It looks amazing. There is so much detail sometimes, I don't know what I'm allowed to walk through or break. But it's fine. 9 out of 10. And the story is perfect. The pacing is great and everything you're doing makes sense. It doesn't rely on you knowing what happens in the film like other tie-in games do. I give the story a 9 out of 10. This game is definitely the best game out of the bunch and gets a 35 out of 40. That brings King Kong to 57 stars. Let's compare.
Oh no, it's a tie. How will we tell who is Alpha Kaiju? Who is the king of monsters?
Studious G, this is Red Leader. Do you read me?
Yes, I read you loud and clear, Red Leader.
A new target is entering the field behind your location. You need to move fast to get out. Move, move, move!
Oh, we'll have to settle this another time. Make sure to like and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram!
Or don't! Don't let the man tell you what to do!